The night was quiet in the frozen forest. A soft wind moved through the tall, dark trees, carrying the sound of cracking ice and the cry of a lonely bird. Inside a small wooden cabin, the man was busy fixing his broken tools. The fire in the stone fireplace gave a weak light, throwing long shadows across the room. He thought he was alone. He thought no one knew where his cabin was. Then it happened. A knock. A soft, weak knock on the wooden door. The man froze. No one came here. His cabin was hidden deep in the forest, far from towns and roads. His hand went to the old rifle leaning against the wall. For a long moment he listened. The wind outside moaned like a whisper. Then again, knock, knock. Slow, careful, almost like someone was afraid to be heard. He stood up, moving to the door quietly, every step heavy on the wooden floor. His heart beat faster. When he pulled the door open, the cold air rushed in, biting his skin. And there she was, the same little girl he had found days earlier. The same small figure he had helped when she was lost and shivering in the snow. Her thin coat was still torn, her face pale from the cold. She looked at him with wide, frightened eyes. But this time she was not alone. Behind her stood a woman. Tall, tired, her face lined with fear. The woman's hands held the girl's shoulders tightly, as if she was afraid the child might vanish. Snow clung to their clothes, and both of them trembled in the icy night. The man stepped back in shock. "You again? What are you doing here?" The little girl did not answer. She only looked past him into the dark corners of the cabin as if searching for something. Her lips moved, but no sound came out. The woman spoke instead. Her voice was low and shaking. "Please, let us in. They are close." The man looked past them into the forest. At first he saw nothing. Just the endless trees, their black branches heavy with snow. But then, a light, a strange bluish glow moving between the trees far away but getting closer. His chest tightened. He had seen lights like that before. Not torches. Not human. Something else. Without another word, he pulled them both inside and shut the door quickly. The lock clicked, and the cabin felt suddenly smaller, as if the darkness outside was pressing against the walls. The woman held the girl close. The girl was still shaking, her small body cold as stone. She whispered something in her mother's ear. The woman nodded, her eyes full of fear. The man spoke, trying to keep his voice steady. "Who is following you?" The woman turned to him. Her lips trembled before she answered. "They know you helped her. And now they are coming." The fire cracked loudly in the silence. The man felt a chill that had nothing to do with the winter. He remembered when he first found the girl only a few days ago. She had been lost in the snow, shaking so badly she could not speak. He had given her food, a blanket, and sent her back toward the old road. He thought that was the end. Just a small kindness in a cruel world. But now she was here again. And trouble had followed her. The girl's wide eyes turned to the window. She clutched her mother's arm with a strength that did not belong to such a small child. Her lips moved again, and this time the man heard her whisper, "They're here." The sound of the wind outside changed. It was not the soft moan of winter anymore. It was heavy, slow, almost like footsteps crushing the snow. The man moved to the window, careful not to be seen. Through the fogged glass, he caught a glimpse. Shadows moved between the trees. Tall shadows, not men, not human. And the blue lights, closer now. The woman reached out and touched his arm. Her voice was urgent. "You must understand. They will not stop. They are hunting her. If they find her here, they will kill us all." The man's throat went dry. He looked at the little girl again. She sat near the fire, her small hands stretched out to the warmth, but her eyes, those dark, deep eyes, never left the door. She was listening. Listening to something beyond the cabin walls. The man's heart pounded. He did not know what these things were or why they wanted her. But he knew one thing. His life had just changed. The silence broke with a sound that froze his blood, a mechanical hum. Low. Metallic. It came from the forest. Closer and closer, like the growl of some monstrous machine. Then came another knock at the door. Not soft this time. Not human. A heavy, cold knock that made the wood shake. The little girl whispered again, her voice trembling. "They found us," the firelight flickered. The shadows on the wall seemed to stretch. The man tightened his grip on the rifle. The cabin was no longer safe, and outside in the frozen dark something waited. The cabin shook from the heavy knock and the sound echoed in the man's chest. His hand tightened on the old rifle. The fire in the hearth crackled, but the warmth it gave no longer mattered. Fear had entered the room thick as smoke. The little girl sat close to her mother, her small shoulders trembling. She did not cry. Her eyes were too wide, too full of something deeper than fear. She stared at the door as if she already knew what waited outside. The mother spoke in a whisper, her voice raw. "They will break in if you don't act. Please, you must hide us." The man shook his head. "Who are they? What do they want with her?" The woman's lips tightened. For a moment it seemed she would not answer, but then her eyes flicked toward the window and her voice dropped even lower. "They are not human. They are patrols, hunters. They search for survivors like her." "Survivors?" he asked. His voice was sharp, too loud. The girl flinched. The man lowered his tone. "What do you mean?" The mother pulled the girl closer. "She escaped from them. That is why she was in the forest when you found her. They will not forgive that. They never forgive." The man looked again at the window. The glass was foggy, but through it he saw the faint blue glow sliding between the trees. It was not a torch, not a lantern. The light was cold, unearthly. It moved with purpose, sweeping the ground as if searching for something or someone. He stepped back, his heart racing. "Why come here? Why bring her back to me?" The mother's eyes burned with desperation. "Because she trusts you. Because they already know your scent is on her. You cannot escape this now. You are part of it." The man's breath caught. The weight of her words pressed on him like the thick snow on the roof. He wanted to deny it, to throw them out and shut the door on their nightmare. But the girl's eyes found his and something inside him broke. She was too small, too fragile, and yet there was something more in her gaze, something that pulled him in. A sound outside cut through his thoughts. Heavy footsteps. Snow crunching under strange weight. Too slow for animals, too steady for men. The blue glow brightened, sliding closer to the cabin. The little girl whispered, her voice barely audible. "They are coming closer. 5 of them." The man turned sharply. "How do you know that?" Her dark eyes did not blink. "I hear them. Inside my head." Their steps, their voices. All of it. A cold shiver ran through him. He looked at the mother, searching for denial, for an explanation. But the woman only nodded, her face pale. "It is true," she said. "She feels them before they arrive. That is why they want her back. She is rare. She is dangerous to them." The man's stomach twisted. Dangerous? She looked like nothing more than a lost child. But now, staring at her, he wondered. The way her small hands gripped her mother's sleeve. The way her eyes never left the window, as if tracking movements no one else could see. It was not normal. The fire hissed as a log split in the heat. The mother jumped at the sound. The man pulled the rifle close and checked the chamber. Old iron against new power. A poor match, but it was all he had. Suddenly, the girl spoke again, her voice sharp this time. "They are here." And then the glow was no longer distant. It spilled across the snow outside the window, casting moving shadows across the cabin walls. The man pressed his back against the door, holding his rifle ready. His heartbeat hammered in his ears. The mother whispered quickly, "We cannot fight them. You must keep us hidden until they pass." The man's jaw clenched. He was no hero. He was only a man who wanted peace, who had built a cabin in the deep woods to escape the broken world. But fate had brought this child to him twice now, and fate had brought the hunters to his door. The footsteps stopped outside. The silence was worse than the sound. Then came voices. Low, metallic, in a language that scratched at the air like knives. The man could not understand the words, but the girl shivered, covering her ears as if the voices were inside her head. "They are asking each other if we are inside," she whispered. Her voice cracked. "One of them says he can smell us." The man's skin went cold. He gripped the rifle tighter, sweat running down his temple despite the freezing air. The voices grew louder. A shadow moved across the window. The girl gasped suddenly. "One of them? He knows you are here." The mother's breath hitched. The man's chest burned as if a great weight pressed against him. Then, with a sudden jolt, the door rattled. Something heavy pushed against it. The wooden frame groaned. The man braced his shoulder against the door, his rifle in one hand. His voice was low, steady, though fear shook him inside. "Stay back. Do not make a sound." The fire flickered. The shadows stretched. Outside, the metallic voices grew louder. And then, silence. No sound of footsteps. No voices. The girl's whisper came again, trembling but certain. They are not gone. They are waiting. The man's blood ran cold. Outside, the forest itself seemed to hold its breath, and the hunt had only just begun. The silence in the cabin was heavy, like the air before a storm. The man stood with his shoulder pressed against the wooden door, the old rifle ready in his hand. The mother clutched her daughter tightly, her eyes never leaving the shadowed window. The little girl sat still, her face pale in the firelight. But her eyes were not on the door. They were far away, as if she was listening to something no one else could hear. Her lips moved softly. "They are not leaving," she whispered. "They are waiting for the signal." The man's breath caught. "Signal from who?" The girl's small fingers pressed against her temples. "From their commander. He is close. He is angry." The mother's arms tightened around her. "Do not listen too deep," she begged. "It hurts you." But the girl shook her head. "I must listen. If I stop, they will surprise us." The man stared at her. She was no ordinary child. He had suspected it since the night he first found her shivering in the snow. But now the truth began to show itself. She was more than lost. She was hunted because she carried something inside her, something dangerous, something powerful. He crouched near her. "How can you hear them?" he asked quietly. The girl's eyes flicked to his. They were dark, but in the firelight they seemed almost to shine. "I don't know." "Their voices. They live inside the air, inside my head. Since I was born, I could feel them. I always hear them when they are near. Sometimes I hear them before they come. That is why they want me back." The mother's voice was sharp. "Enough, do not speak of it." She looked at the man, her face hard. "The more she uses this gift, the more danger she brings. They fear her, yes, but they also want to control her." The man swallowed hard. The fire popped, sending sparks into the air. Outside, the blue glow moved again, sliding across the snow. Shadows stretched against the walls of the cabin like fingers searching for a way inside. "Why me?" he asked suddenly, his voice louder than he meant. "Why bring her here? I am no soldier. I am no protector." The woman's voice was steady but filled with sorrow. "Because you already saved her once. That means fate has chosen you. You cannot turn away now." The man wanted to argue, to push them both out into the snow and close the door on this nightmare. But deep inside, he knew she was right. From the moment he had lifted the freezing girl into his arms days ago, his path had changed. The girl suddenly gasped, her hand flying to her chest. Her eyes went wide. "They know. They know we are inside." The man jumped to the window. Through the frost, he saw a tall shadow moving closer, its head too long for a human, its limbs bending unnaturally. Another followed, and then another. The blue glow burned brighter, spilling over the snow like liquid light. "They will come soon," the girl whispered. Her voice shook now. "But not yet. They wait because of me." The man frowned. "What do you mean?" The girl hesitated. Her lips trembled as if she carried a truth too heavy for her small body. Finally, she whispered, "I can make them stop. For a moment. If I push their thoughts away. But it will hurt." The mother's face went pale. "No," she hissed. "You cannot. Every time you use it, it breaks you a little more." Tears filled the girl's eyes. "But if I don't, they will come. They will kill him. They will kill you." The man felt the weight of her words press into his chest. He knelt in front of her, lowering his rifle. "Listen to me. You don't have to fight them alone. You are not their prisoner anymore." Her small hand reached out, touching his arm. Her skin was ice cold. "I hear them calling me. They call me seer. They say I belong to them, but I don't. Not anymore." The firelight flickered, and for a heartbeat, the man thought he saw something in her eyes. Silver light, faint but real, like a hidden star. The silence broke outside. A sharp metallic cry rang through the forest, not human, not natural. The shadows moved as one, turning toward the cabin. The girl's face twisted in pain. She pressed her hands against her head. "The commander speaks now. He says, 'Break the door.'" "Bring me the child alive," the mother gasped. The man rose, lifting his rifle. His hands were steady, but his heart thundered in his chest. The girl whispered one last time, her voice thin as a thread. "If I push him back, you must protect us. Promise me." The man's throat tightened. He looked into her glowing eyes, and he knew he was already bound to her fate. "I promise." The girl closed her eyes. A tremor shook her small body, and outside the shadows froze. Their movements halted as if an unseen wall had risen before them. The night itself seemed to hold its breath. But how long could she hold them? The cabin was silent, but not with peace. It was the silence of held breath. The silence before danger strikes. Outside, the alien shadows stood frozen in the snow, their glowing eyes fixed on the small wooden shelter. Inside, the man watched in disbelief. The little girl sat by the fire, her small hands pressed to her head, her lips trembling. She was holding them back. Somehow she was stopping their minds from moving forward. The mother knelt beside her, whispering, "Enough, child. Enough. You cannot keep this for long." The girl shook her head, her voice weak but steady. "If I stop, they will break the door." The man's grip tightened on the rifle. He had never seen anything like this before. The girl's face glowed faintly in the firelight, sweat shining on her forehead. The strain was visible, her small frame shaking with the weight of invisible power. Then, all at once, she gasped and collapsed against her mother. Her hands dropped, and outside the forest came alive. The tall figures began to move again, their steps heavy on the snow. Their voices, sharp and metallic, cut through the night. The blue glow burned brighter as they drew closer to the cabin. The man felt his blood turn cold. He aimed the rifle at the door, but he knew it would not be enough. The girl's weak voice broke the silence. "They are inside already." The man turned sharply. "What?" Her small finger pointed toward the far corner of the cabin. For a moment he saw nothing but shadows and flickering firelight. Then he heard it, a faint hum like a swarm of insects trapped in metal. The air shimmered, and from the dark corner a figure stepped out. It was tall, its body covered in dark armor that gleamed with blue veins of light. Its face was hidden behind a smooth mask with two bright eyes that glowed like fire. It had not opened the door. It had simply appeared, slipping through the wall like smoke. The mother screamed and pulled her daughter close. The man raised his rifle and fired. The shot thundered in the cabin, the sound deafening in the small space. The bullet struck the figure's chest. Sparks burst, but the creature did not fall. It staggered, then straightened, its glowing eyes fixed on the man. The alien's voice hissed in the room, metallic and cruel. "The child belongs to us," the girl cried out, her small hands clutching her mother.
"Don't listen to him!"
"Don't let them take me." The alien moved forward, its steps slow but unstoppable. The wooden floor creaked under its weight. The man fired again, this time at the mask. The glass cracked, a piece breaking away. For the first time, he saw what lay behind it, a glimpse of gray skin, scarred and rough with teeth too sharp to be human. The alien roared, a sound like grinding stone, and raised its weapon. Blue light gathered at the end, bright and deadly. The man dove forward, slamming into the creature with his shoulder. They crashed into the table, sending dishes and wood flying. The weapon fired, a bolt of blue light smashing into the ceiling. Wood splintered, smoke filled the cabin, and the fire wavered dangerously. The mother screamed again, shielding the girl. The man wrestled with the alien, his rifle clattering to the floor. The creature was strong, far stronger than any man. Its hands closed around his throat, squeezing, the glow from its armor burning his skin. Then a sound cut through the chaos, the girl's voice. Clear, strong. "Stop." The alien froze, its glowing eyes flickering. Its grip loosened slightly. The man gasped for air, shoving it back with all his strength. The alien stumbled, its weapon falling from its hand. The girl stood now, her small frame trembling, her eyes glowing silver. "You cannot take me," she whispered. "I do not belong to you," the alien snarled, its voice like broken metal. "You are ours. You were made for us." The man snatched up his rifle again, aiming at the creature's head. But before he could fire, the alien lunged, not at him, but at the girl. The mother tried to block it, but the alien's strength threw her aside. Its hand stretched out toward the child, claws reaching. The girl's eyes blazed brighter. A wave of invisible force burst from her, slamming into the alien. It crashed into the wall, wood splintering around it. For a moment, the cabin shook as if struck by thunder. The alien groaned, its armor sparking. It tried to rise, but the girl's eyes glowed brighter still. She lifted her small hand, and the creature's body trembled as if pinned by unseen chains. The mother pulled her close, whispering, "Enough. Don't burn yourself." The girl's voice shook, but she stood her ground. "Leave us alone." With a scream, the alien's body was thrown through the wooden wall, crashing into the snow outside. The cabin groaned from the impact, a hole now open to the freezing night. The man stared in shock. The girl collapsed back into her mother's arms, her light fading. But outside, more shadows moved. The glow of many eyes burned through the trees. The first contact was not the last, it was only the beginning. The night outside the cabin erupted with sound. The alien body the girl had thrown through the wall lay half buried in snow, sparks flickering across its broken armor. But the victory lasted only a breath. More shadows moved among the trees, many of them. Their glowing eyes cut through the forest like blue stars, closing in on the small wooden cabin. Inside, the mother held the girl tightly, rocking her small body as her breath came in weak gasps. The fire burned low and smoke still curled from the hole in the wall where the first alien had crashed through. The man reloaded his rifle with shaking hands. The old weapon felt heavier than ever, useless against such enemies, but it was all he had. He glanced at the girl. Her eyes were half closed now, her strength drained from what she had done. She could not fight again, not so soon. The mother's voice was low, urgent. They will come in waves. They will not stop until they have her. The man's jaw clenched. He had built this cabin to be a place of peace, a place to hide from the world. Now it was a trap, and death pressed in from every side. A sound shattered the night, metal striking against wood. One of the aliens slammed its weapon into the cabin door. The wood shuddered. Dust fell from the ceiling, then came another strike, harder. The lock groaned. The man pulled a heavy table across the entrance, barricading it. "Keep her hidden," he told the mother. "If they get inside, run to the back. There's a cellar beneath the floorboards." The mother shook her head. "You cannot hold them alone," the man did not answer. His eyes were hard, fixed on the door. Outside, the voices of the aliens rose together, metallic, cruel, echoing through the trees. The girl whimpered, covering her ears. "They are calling for me. They are saying, they will burn this place to ash." Suddenly, a window shattered. A blue bolt of light ripped through the cabin, striking the far wall. Wood exploded, flames licking up from the splintered boards. The mother cried out, dragging the girl to the floor. The man turned and fired at the window. The shot echoed, and one of the glowing eyes outside fell into the snow. But another figure appeared, then another, their shadows crawling closer. The door rattled again. Crack! Splinters flew as claws tore through the wood. The man grabbed a lantern and hurled it into the fireplace. Flames roared higher, lighting the room bright orange. He snatched an axe from the wall, gripping it tightly in one hand while holding the rifle in the other. The door gave way with a crash. The first alien stormed in, taller than a man, its armor glowing with veins of blue. Its weapon hummed with deadly light. The man fired. The bullet struck its shoulder, sparks spraying. The creature staggered but did not fall. It swung its weapon, a blue arc slicing through the table barricade like paper. The man dropped the rifle and swung the axe. The blade sank into the alien's side, splitting armor. The creature roared, striking him with a blow that threw him against the wall. His vision blurred, his chest burning from the impact. Another alien forced its way inside. The cabin filled with smoke, fire, and the hiss of alien voices. The mother screamed as one of them reached for the girl. The child's eyes flickered with faint silver, but her body was too weak to unleash her power again. The man staggered to his feet. His ribs ached, blood trickled from his lip, but he raised the axe again. He charged, slamming into the second alien before it could touch the girl. Both crashed into the burning wall, sparks raining down. The heat grew unbearable. Flames licked across the ceiling, black smoke choking the air. The cabin was becoming a furnace. The girl's voice cut through the chaos, faint but desperate. "We must run. They want us trapped inside." The man shoved the alien back, his muscles screaming. He looked at the cellar door under the rug near the fire. It was their only escape, but another shadow filled the hole in the wall. The commander had come. He was taller than the others, his armor darker, his glowing eyes colder. His voice filled the cabin like thunder. "The child comes with us. The rest may burn." The mother shielded her daughter. "Over my dead body," she shouted. The commander raised his weapon, blue light swirling. The man stood between them, his axe dripping with alien blood, his body shaking but unbroken. "Then you'll have to go through me first." The alien commander's eyes burned brighter. Behind him, more soldiers gathered, their weapons raised. The flames roared higher, the walls cracking as the cabin began to collapse. The siege had begun, and there was no turning back. The cabin groaned under the weight of flames. Smoke filled the air, stinging eyes and burning lungs. The man stood with his axe in hand, his chest heaving, every muscle trembling from the fight. The mother clutched the girl close, shielding her from falling sparks. And in the broken wall, the alien commander stepped forward. Taller than the others, darker, with eyes glowing like cold fire. His voice echoed through the cabin, deep and metallic. "The child belongs to us. She was made for us. Hand her over and you may live." The man spat blood, his voice hoarse. "She belongs to no one." The commander tilted his head, almost amused. His soldiers spread out around the cabin, their glowing weapons humming. The fire painted their armor in orange light, but their cold blue eyes never blinked. The girl stirred weakly in her mother's arms. Her small body was frail, her skin pale, but her eyes opened again. Silver light flickered deep inside them. "They will not stop," she whispered. Her voice was faint, but the words were clear. "They will never stop until I'm gone. Or until I use it." The mother shook her head fiercely. "No, child. You cannot. It will break you." The man looked at the girl, then at the aliens closing in. His chest tightened. "Use what?" he asked. The girl turned her glowing eyes to him. "The voice inside me. The one they fear," the alien commander snarled. "Silence her." Two soldiers lunged forward. The man swung his axe, cutting across one's arm. Sparks burst, alien blood sprang across the wood. The second soldier knocked him back, its clawed hand raking his shoulder. Pain exploded through him, but he forced himself to stand again. The commander raised his weapon, aiming at the mother. The blue light grew brighter, humming with deadly power. Then the girl screamed. It was not the scream of a frightened child. It was something deeper, sharper, like the cry of thunder breaking the sky. Her body arched, and the silver light in her eyes burst outward. The air shook. The aliens staggered as if struck by invisible hands. Their weapons flickered, their armor sparking. The commander roared, but even he took a step back. The fire bent with the force, flames swirling like a storm inside the cabin. The wooden walls rattled, glass shattered, and the ground itself trembled. The girl rose from her mother's arms. Her small feet touched the floor, her hair whipping around her face, though no wind blew. Her eyes blazed silver, brighter than the fire, brighter than the alien glow. "You will not take me," she said, her voice no longer weak. It echoed, layered, as if 1,000 voices spoke through her. "I am not yours. I am not your weapon." The commander growled, raising his hand to strike. But before he could, the girl lifted her own. A wave of pure energy exploded outward. The soldiers were thrown across the cabin, their bodies crashing into burning walls. Armor split, weapons shattered. The commander braced himself, his feet sinking into the wooden floor, but even he bent under the force. The man shielded his eyes as the silver light filled the cabin. The heat was immense, but it was not from the fire, it was from her. The girl stepped forward, her small figure glowing like a star in the dark. She raised her hand higher, and the commander's weapon flew from his grasp, ripped away by unseen power. It clattered across the floor, useless, the alien roared. "You are ours. You cannot fight what you are." The girl's voice cut through him like a blade. "I am not yours. I am free." She thrust her hand forward, and the commander was hurled backward, crashing through the broken wall into the snow. The ground outside cracked under the impact, sending a shock wave through the forest. The remaining soldiers scrambled to their feet, their voices screeching in fear. For the first time, they looked less like hunters and more like prey. The girl's body shook, her power blazing around her like silver fire. The mother reached for her, tears streaming down her face. "Enough, child. Please, enough." The man stepped forward, his voice steady despite the chaos. "If you keep pushing, it will kill you." The girl's eyes flickered, the silver dimming for a heartbeat. She swayed, exhausted, but she stood tall, her gaze fixed on the commander outside as he rose again. His armor cracked, his glow dimmed, but his fury burning brighter. He pointed a clawed finger at her. His voice was a growl of rage. "This is not over. You are the key. Without you, they cannot win, and we will have you one way or another." The girl's silver light faded, her small body collapsing back into her mother's arms. She was unconscious, her strength gone. The fire roared around them, the cabin's beams snapping, the roof threatening to fall. The man lifted the mother and child, pushing them toward the cellar door. "We can't stay here. The whole place is coming down." The mother's eyes met his. "Then where do we go?" He looked out through the broken wall where the commander stood in the snow, his army gathering again. "To the only place left," the man said, "where they cannot follow. If it still exists." The mother's grip on the child tightened. "And where is that?" The man's eyes were hard, his voice grim. The resistance. The cabin groaned, flames swallowing the roof. The three of them vanished into the cellar below. As outside the aliens regrouped, their cold voices promising war, the girl had awakened. And now nothing would ever be the same. The cellar smelled of damp earth and old wood. The man lowered the trapdoor above them, sealing the fire and smoke of the cabin behind. For a moment, only the sound of their ragged breathing filled the dark space. The mother held the girl tightly. Her small face was pale, her eyes closed, her body limp. The glow that had filled the cabin minutes earlier was gone, leaving only exhaustion behind. "She's alive," the mother whispered, brushing hair from her daughter's damp forehead. "But she cannot wake soon. She gave too much." The man leaned against the wall, his ribs aching, his shoulder burning from the alien strike. His whole body trembled with exhaustion, but he knew the danger was not over. Above them, heavy footsteps thudded across the broken remains of the cabin. Voices echoed, metallic, cruel, searching. "They know we are here," the man muttered. The mother looked at him, her eyes sharp. "Then we must leave now, before they find the way in." The man's hand went to a small pack hidden in the cellar. Inside were maps, food, and a few old tools, things he had kept for an escape he never thought he would need. He pulled the map out and spread it on the dirt floor, the weak light of a lantern shaking across its surface. "There is a path through the forest," he said. "It leads to the frozen cliffs. Beyond them, the old tunnels. If the resistance still survives, that's where they'll be." The mother's eyes narrowed. "And if they do not?" The man's voice hardened. "Then we make our own stand." The little girl stirred faintly, her lips moving. A whisper escaped her. "He is coming." The man and the mother froze. The girl's eyes fluttered open, glowing faintly silver even in her weakness. "The commander. He will not wait for dawn. He comes now." A heavy crash shook the ground above them. Dust rained down from the cellar ceiling. The mother clutched the girl tightly, her face pale. The man grabbed his rifle and axe, his voice grim. "We cannot run anymore. Not tonight." The mother's voice broke. "Then what do you suggest?" "We cannot fight them all." The man's eyes went to the girl. "We don't have to fight them all. We only need to face him." The trapdoor above exploded inward. Wood and fire rained down as the alien commander dropped into the cellar. His armor was cracked, his mask broken, but his glowing eyes still burned with fury. The man raised his rifle and fired. The bullet struck the commander's chest, sparks flying, but he barely staggered. With a snarl, the alien swung his massive arm, sending the man crashing into the wall. The mother screamed, shielding the girl. The commander's voice filled the cellar. "You cannot protect her. She was born for us. She is the key to our victory, the key to ending your kind." The man groaned, forcing himself to his feet. His body screamed in pain, but his grip on the axe tightened. "You'll have to kill me first," the alien sneered. "Gladly." The two clashed in the narrow cellar, axe against armored claw. Sparks burst with every strike, dirt flying as the ground shook under their weight. The man's strength faltered, but desperation drove him on. He could not let the commander reach the girl. The girl's weak voice echoed through the cellar. "Stop!" Her eyes opened again, brighter this time. Silver light spread across the dark, washing over the dirt walls. Her small hand lifted, trembling. The commander froze mid-strike, his body shuddering. His glowing eyes flickered. "You cannot win," the girl whispered. Her voice was layered again, powerful. "Because I'm not yours. I never was," the commander roared, fighting against the invisible force pinning him. "You are our weapon. Without you, they will fall." The girl's voice grew stronger. "Then let them fall." A wave of energy burst from her, shaking the cellar like an earthquake. The commander was hurled upward, smashing through the remains of the cabin above. His scream echoed through the forest as his body crashed into the snow outside. The other soldiers hesitated. For the first time, they did not advance. They stared at the small cabin, fear in their glowing eyes. The girl collapsed again, her light fading. The mother caught her, cradling her gently. Tears ran down her cheeks. The man climbed to his feet, bloodied but standing. He looked at the mother. "We cannot stay here. More will come. And next time she may not have the strength." The mother nodded. "Then we go to the resistance." The man helped her up, lifting the girl into his arms. She was light as a feather, her small head resting against his shoulder. As they stepped out of the ruined cabin into the cold night, the forest was silent. The alien soldiers had vanished into the shadows, their commander broken but not dead, His voice echoed faintly through the trees. This is not the end. She will be ours. The war has only begun. The man tightened his grip on the girl, his jaw hard. He looked at the smoking ruins of his cabin, then at the dark horizon beyond the forest. No, he whispered. This is only the beginning, but not the way you think. With the mother at his side and the child in his arms, he walked into the snow, leaving the flames behind. Ahead lay the cliffs, the tunnels, and perhaps the last hope of humanity. The final stand had begun,